It's a sensitive subject.
No, not it's not. It's just that, I was playing college baseball at the time.
Yeah.
And we were on a Southern Spring tour, which meant we would leave our college and then play a college a day going south.
Wow.
That's what we did in the spring. And then you come back and play your regular season. So this one day we were in Memphis. And we pulled over at Holiday Inn to have lunch. And there was a little black and white TV in the corner. And we were just about done with our lunch. And all of a sudden, fire engines and ambulance, police cars were racing by the hotel. And we all assumed there was a bad accident or a fire or something like that. And then on the TV set, bulletin came on. Breaking news, Martin Luther King has just been shot at I think it was the Lincoln Motel. So I asked the waiter, I said, come here and say, where is the Lincoln Motel? He says, 2 blocks south.
Whoa.
And I said, oh my God. I had never been in this town in my life.
Yeah.
And here I am, the 2 hours that I was in that town, he was assassinated 2 blocks away.
Wow.
So what we did at that point is we got back on the bus and we left.
Wow.
By the time we got back to campus, the country was in turmoil. Detroit was on fire, Newark was on fire, St. Louis was on fire, Kansas City. The whole country was in turmoil from that incident. And a lot of people don't remember, but I think it was 2 months after that, Robert Kennedy was assassinated.
A weird one as well.
2 months later. So those were the times in which we were living.
Right.
Back then. But I do mention that in the book because I had Dr. Maya Angelou on the show. Talk about an intellectual.
Right.
Am I worthy kind of thing, right. She's the greatest poet the country's ever had. And in doing my research, I found out that she was born on the day Martin Luther King was assassinated. Mm. From that day forth, and she was then in middle age, she never again celebrated her birthday until her death.
Wow, that's a story.
Because they were close.
Now, there's always those rumors. I have a particular interest in the RFK shooting,
yep.
The whole Sirhan element to it. This strange kind of ornamental we'll call it what it is, a conspiracy. I mean, it's what it is, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is a very dirty word these days, in my opinion.
There's a lot of different conspiracies, by the way.
Oh, yes, for sure. You mean about RFK?
Both.
Yeah, and MLK.
Yes, JFK and Bobby. And a lot of the conspiracies were that the oil powers and the oil companies here and abroad wanted to get rid of both of them because they realized that they would rule the White House for 16 years.
Right.
And they were not friends of the oil industry.
Right.
So that was one of the conspiracies, is that they hired this Sirhan and
yep.
and the other fellow from John F. Kennedy. I can't even remember his name now.
Oswald.
Mm-hmm. That they were just hired guns by the oil companies to get rid of the power at the time.
It's fascinating. You can go down a million rabbit holes, especially with the MLK assassination as well, where there's a lot of written documents of the FBI basically coming to determinations in dark rooms to figure out ways to essentially break up the formation of new centralized powers in America, which is finally having an organization to represent people of color in the United States.
Right.
But I've heard the same entity that they blame is the same entity for RFK.
Well, there was a movie in 1973. I'm going to mention this only because you just had him on your show. And it was called Executive Action. And that was their theory as well within that film. Mm. And you know who did the soundtrack for that movie?
Randy Edelman.
It was his first movie.
Oh, really?
In 1973.
I didn't know
and
that.
You just had him on the show.
Yeah, I should have asked him about the assassination. But.
Well, he'd have an opinion for it because he wrote the soundtrack. I mean, the musical soundtrack to that film. And it was a low budget film, but it was about the assassinations and what they felt was behind both of them.
Given the way communication has dramatically changed, the censorship issues that we're starting to deal with, and the rise of really, it's almost feudal, right? It's almost like when the church had all the books in their places of worship. Was the only way for you to study. It was almost like monastic, where one person had all the information. We're slowly veering towards like those kind of monolithic principles. Mm-hmm. Do you worry that it's not possible for someone like MLK, not possible for someone like John F. Kennedy to deliver that speech where darker forces in the United States, the military-industrial complex, are people you should be worried? The Eisenhower speeches, these kinds of whistleblower moments. Do you worry that that's not really nearly as possible?
Yeah. Well, it's certainly evolving.
Yeah.
I mean, back when JFK was president, he was a womanizer.
Yeah. Legendary one.
Believe it or not, the press protected him.
Yeah.
Today, that would, two things. Today, he would never get away with it.
No way.
There's too much coverage, so I think things are evolving now. You have to there's a camera on you every second. You probably can't leave Soho Innovative Studios. You're probably on somebody's camera.
Yeah.
So is that a good thing? I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think it's shaping our relationship and communications.
It's a slippery slope at the same time.
Right.
Because you don't have privacy anymore.
Yeah.